Hey everybody, welcome to EDEL 518B, Eddie Gonzalez, and this class is going to be the issues in the instructional design of classroom software, and it's going to be significantly different than the work that you did in 518A. So in 518A, we were more assessing software, critiquing software, but in 518B, you're going to actually be creating a prototype of your software. And while you don't actually publish this prototype into an application store, it's essentially kind of like the process that we're going to be going through, which is just brainstorming on creating an instructional software that we can implement in the class, actually developing it, and then testing it out in different phases. So the first time I taught this was last semester, and I'll be honest with you, it's such a different class, and I think I really struggled to kind of embody the roles, because within the work you're going to see that the course asked for me to take on the role of a client and for you to take on the role of a developer. So kind of keeping that in mind over the summer, I was really thinking about how can I embody the role of a client a little bit better. And as I was watching and doing a little bit of research for really trying to deliver a good instructional experience, I realized that a role is kind of a little bit out of my wheelhouse, because it required me, to kind of almost jump into a different type of person. And so as I went through it a little bit deeper, I studied some of the old, method actors, and even the current ones. I'm looking at Marlon Brando, looking at work of Robert De Niro. And then over the summer, I remember I came across Christian Bale in The Machinist. We want to talk about somebody embodying a role. And this guy lost like 50, 60 pounds just to play a role. And then he went and gained like 120 pounds so that he could play Dick Cheney. And I was like, wow, if these guys can, put their bodies through these rigorous process just so that they could embody a role and deliver it, like, that's impressive. So then I went about and I actually found myself a developer, followed them around, slept at their house, ate food on their kitchen table, went to work with them, and really came to understand what it means to be a client, what it means to be a developer, and what it means to be able to develop an educational application. And then what finally pushed me, and I said, this semester or this quarter, I'm going full method actor, was recently when I watched Joaquin Phoenix in Joker. So I'm going to encourage you. I've gotten to the point where this role of mine as the client developer, it's kind of been popping out. Sometimes in class it pops out. Sometimes when I'm at when I go to my students' conferences, it's like I embodied it, and it's just so different. But if it happens throughout the semester, just kind of go with it. Recognize that, again, it's a role that I feel like I have to embody and just really embrace. And as the client, it's what needs to happen. And for you as the developer this semester, you're gonna have to really jump in and take the role as well. Hey everybody, it is Dr. E, and honestly, please forget everything that last guy said. Of course, you will be publishing, and you will be publishing this semester in none other than Dr. Eddie's App Store. Awesome deal. I will be taking about only a small paltry 80% of the royalty fees from the work that you developed. You can find my app store here in your Power School, and there's also going to be some awesome examples of work that took place last spring. So let me hop right into it. First, this is a great piece of drill and practice software developed for elementary age children. This came from our developer group, Smart Cookies. Next was our circuit construction kit, and this was a tutorial simulation that was geared towards high school students, and this was developed by none other than Short Circuit. Finally, here we have another example developed by our super scientist, and this was geared more towards teachers in a tutorial on how Nearpod works. Now, you might be wondering as to my qualifications and how does Dr. Eddie get his own app store? Well, my friends, I'm sure you already know some of the amazing software that I have developed and is just absolutely going through every single classroom in the country. First is Kashmoot, which has revolutionized the way that we are assessing in classrooms. There is also the teacher favorite, Cool Math Games. I'm sure you've come across that. And you may not know, but I was actually an intern in the early 90s on the Oregon Trail, and it was my idea to bring in dysentery and the broken ankle. How many people didn't make it past that one? So, how is the semester going to go? First, you're going to be in phase 1, which is the planning phase. And in the planning phase, you're going to be just setting up your teams, going through all the protocols, making sure that you read all of the instructions. The second part is going to be the design phase. In the design phase, one of the key elements is going to be creating your application storyboard. And this is going to be super important. In your application storyboard, you're going to be, it's almost like an artistic mock-up of what your software is going to look like. And this one here comes from Give Me a Slice, and you can see that each piece is a different slide, and it goes through where all the buttons go, how you navigate through the actual problems, and it's just everything of what the nuts and bolts of what your software is going to be. Finally, you are going to jump right into the development phase, and may I remind you, this is going to be a mock-up. I am requiring that you use Google Slides. However, every once in a while I do make an exception, but you are going to have to convince moi if you are going to step out of those bounds. In the development phase, you are going to create your actual drill software or your tutorial software. Here is the amazing work that was created by Give Me a Slice. And again, this was developed by Smart Cookies. I'm going to show you exactly how that looks. You hop into it. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and start. I choose example number 1, and then here it comes. I'm going to actually have to solve it and get my answer. Voila, my tutorial simulation or my drill in practice simulation. You are actually going to be testing this out in a classroom, doing some beta testing, getting some information on the users. It's going to be some fantastic work. I will be documenting all of this throughout the semester, and you may know that the old guy, he goes ahead and does weekly intros and weekly recaps. I've taken over, baby. I've actually secured the rights for my very own television show, which will be airing on every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and this is going to be The Client, featuring Dr. Eddie himself. And in each episode at the end of the week, I will be handing out a red rose to the groups who have just exceeded my expectations and created and developed something within that week and followed the process to its best fidelity. I look forward to working with every single one of you. And remember, you can definitely reach out to me on any social media platform. You can find me on my Twitter, on my Facebook, on my Mocospace, on my MySpace, or you can just drop me a page. See you later and ciao.